Today I'm going to be making what's called in Korean natural farming Oriental herbal nutrients. I might call it Asian herbal nutrients. Consists of 5 things: cinnamon, angelica root, licorice root, garlic, ginger. You say, why do I have 6 jars? We use the angelica root twice. These things are all very beneficial for anti-pathogens and soil health. I know we've heard of doing ginger and garlic steams to open things up in your sinuses, and also garlic can be good to fight out viruses. The same is true in your soil health. We'll put in at a rate of 1 to 1,000 into our water when we feed, and it attacks the bad guys, but also letting the good pathogens grow. So I'll get started. You take your dry ingredients and you want to start with your jar. You want to fill it up about 1/10 of the way, which is hard to sort of figure out on this, but with these smaller jars, these are quart-sized jars. So we got our cinnamon. Break it up. Ooh, it smells delish. I sort of just like to make sure I have the bottom of the jar covered. Licorice. And these are all things you can find at any Asian market. These I got at the local corner store. You've seen this before. So these are things readily available. These are licorice root. Because in the natural farming method, they want to return the power to the farmer. You know, with chemicals and such, companies sort of wanted you to believe you needed all of these things to understand about soil health and growing your plants, when if you just follow nature, it's fairly simple. So this stuff is all fairly inexpensive and readily available. Angelica root. And the angelica we do twice. What we're doing here is we're using these 3 ingredients are dry ingredients that we're going to rehydrate with some low percentage alcohol, also known as beer. I use Colt 45 because it works every time. Shout out to Billy D. And this, you want to fill it so that you have about half of your container full of beer and dry herb. And you're going to get a lot of foam on that. So it takes time to let stuff settle. So we've let our dry herb ingredients hydrate overnight in our low percentage alcohol, also known as beer. Stuff is suspended, floating, looking good, nice and rehydrated. Today we start the first step of the fermentation process, and so we'll be adding brown sugar and vodka to our now rehydrated herbs. Remember, we have cinnamon, licorice root, and 2 angelica root. So I'm going to be adding brown sugar enough to raise the level to about 2/3. You want to leave about 1/3 of the jar for the vodka, because we're going to add vodka to the very tippy top. So I'm going to add brown sugar enough to get us to about 2/3 of the jar. That 2/3. The good thing about this natural farming is it's not an exact science. So if you're a bit over or a bit under, as long as you're shooting for precise, you usually hit the target. Give that a nice clockwise stir. Make sure that we can get as much of that brown sugar to stay suspended and dilute, because right at the moment it all sinks to the bottom, but give it a little spin. So now what I'll do is I'll top these off with some vodka. You can use, I just use the cheapest vodka I can find, and it doesn't matter. High percentage alcohol. So if there's stuff that you're making yourself or whatever, as long as it's high percentage alcohol, you can use it. This will fill our jars all the way to the top. Another little stir. Now we'll be starting with the wet ingredients, and we've got some garlic here. There's really not much you need to do in the way of getting it ready. We're going to use all parts of it, but I'm going to smash it up with my hammer. And then what we'll do is we'll weigh this out. I've got my scale zeroed out for my container, and all we want to make sure we have is equal weight garlic and equal weight brown sugar. Alright, so we're at about a ½ pound of garlic, which will be fine. So then I'll be adding ½ pound of brown sugar. And then we'll just mix this up really well. We'll take our garlic sugar and fill up our jar about 2/3 of the way. It's just similar to what we did here. And this will settle and everything, so like I said, if you're a little bit above, it's okay. To the vodka. Boom. Last step will be ginger, and we'll do ½ pound of ginger. Same process. You want to open those things up, and smashing it up will release all of that. Get access to the juices. Juices. Now, ½ cup of sugar, ½ cup of brown sugar. The smell, it's amazing. What I'll be doing next is cleaning up my hands, covering everything with paper towel and rubber band, and letting it sit in a cool, dry place, maybe your basement or cool, dry place, 14 days. This is just step 1 in 5 steps to make your Oriental herbal nutrients. Please follow us. We'll be doing more videos until we get this process all the way through. This has been the Basement Farmer with dirty hands. Appreciate y'all.